now, so I don't know if I'll be able to get a thumbnail up here, but I did want to go ahead and post this because I really think this is going to be a really good message. I'm getting filled up, so filled up, and this is really speaking out to me. I'm just meditating on James chapter 3, and this is just talking about the tongue. I was ministering to a family member today to let them know, too much talk leads to sin. And that's a place where I'm really, really, really trying to conquer and remain, just having even more of a quiet spirit and just really just guarding, like even more than before, there's grace and there's mercy, so we can work up to that perfection that we need to be like in our Father. But, it's always going to take some pruning. It's always going to take a practice and again and again. So with that being said, I just want to talk about the tongue. And I'm just going to read through the passage, and I'm just going to talk about it a little bit. This is pretty much how I get through verses. A lot of the time I will actually just read through it and preach to myself, as if I'm preaching to a whole audience of people. So let's go ahead and start with verse 1. All right, here we go. My brethren, be not many masters, knowing that we shall receive the greater condemnation. For in many things we offend all. If any man offend not in word, the same is a perfect man, and able also to bridle the whole body. So let's stop right there. Are you uncontrollable in your body? Are you uncontrollable in your flesh? What are you speaking out of your mouth? Because depending on what your mouth is saying, that depends on where your actions are going to go. Because it's all a part of your soul. It makes up your character. It makes up you. So however you speak, that's part of your character. So, if you're speaking just negatively, then you're going to do negative actions. If you're speaking positively, what are you going to do? You're going to do positive actions. That's just how it goes. That's how we were built. We were creatures of habit. If we constantly do something good, we're going to constantly do something good. If we constantly do something bad, then we're going to constantly do something bad. That's how it goes. We're creatures of habit. Behold, we put bits in the horses' mouths that they may obey us, and we turn about their whole body. Behold also the ships, which are though they be so great, and they're driven of fierce winds, yet are they turned about with a very small helm, whithersoever the governor listeth. And even so, the tongue is a little member, and boasteth great things. Behold, how great a matter a little fire kindleth. Our tongue, my goodness. Our tongue, one time I had a dream of somebody, and they were talking, and fire was just coming out of their mouths. And that interpretation came to me like, okay, this is how that person is talking. How that person is talking is just like, they're speaking things that are just kindling a fire. Like, and it's not a holy fire, it's hellfire. And we got to be careful of that, guys. Are we speaking the heaven language, or are we speaking hell language? Are we speaking the language of God, or are we speaking the language of Satan? And that has an effect on us. Life or death and life is in the power of the tongue. That is why God, he spoke and made the world. So we can see that our words are a really big thing. Words have the ability to change and shift our destiny and our ways in life. Our words can do damage or good to us. So we have to really, really, really be so conscious of how we speak. You could say one wrong word and be operating in witchcraft. You could say one wrong word, and if you just don't have that knowledge, you could be, setting somebody else's life up for failure. And I know that you were all in good intentions, but good intentions doesn't get people to heaven. Obeying the word and speaking perfect word, speaking word that is incorruptible is what's going to get you to heaven. Speaking life and living that word, because your actions are going to follow whatever you're speaking. Whatever you're speaking is what you're meditating on. And that's another thing that I've learned. Like when you're around, any negativity, if someone's speaking negative to you, oh my goodness, if you don't want that to stick with you, guess what? Keep silent. So let's keep on going. And the tongue is a fire, a world of iniquity. So is the tongue among our members, that it defileth the whole body, and setteth on fire the course of nature, and it is set on fire of hell. Your tongue sets the tone for wherever you're going to go in life. Your tone sets your destiny. When you die, how are you talking? Every man, it says in the word, it says every man is going to give account for every idle word that is spoken, every meaningless and pointless and word that was not even found anywhere in the Bible, that had nothing to do with getting you anywhere. You're going to be judged by it. There's nothing wrong with joking around, but even down to the jokes you say, is it lining up with whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable? You know, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, you know, if you can just put everything that you say with that, you know, is this honest, is this true, is this, you know, and really like soak yourself in the word and make sure that you're not just saying this out of your own righteousness, but out of God's righteousness, because he is perfect and without fault. All right, let's move on. For every kind of beasts and of birds and of serpents and of things in the sea is tamed and hath been tamed of mankind, but the tongue can no man tame. It is an unruly evil full of deadly poison. But notice how he said no man can tame it. No, in our own strength, we can't tame our tongues. We saw what we was like without God's strength. We saw where we was headed without God's strength. But it's God that can help us tame our tongues if we let him. And that's another thing. You can see like how much power is in that tongue. We have to actually yield ourselves so that we can control that thing. We have to yield it to God. But God can help tame it. He can tame it. But without the power of God, no. I mean, we can't do it in our own strength. Therewith bless we God, even the Father, and therewith curse we men, which are made after the similitude of God. Out of the same mouth proceedeth blessing and cursing. My brethren, these things ought not so to be. Doth the fountain send forth at the same place sweet water and bitter? Can the fig tree, my brethren, bear olive berries, either a vine figs? So can no fountain both yield salt water and fresh? Who is a wise man and endued with knowledge among you? Let him shew out of a good conversation his works with meekness of wisdom. But if ye have bitter envying and strife in your hearts, glory not and lie against the truth. This wisdom descendeth not from above, but is earthly, sensual, and devilish. For where envying and strife is, there is confusion in every evil work. But the wisdom that is from above is first pure, then peaceable, gentle, and easy to be entreated, full of mercy and good fruits, without partiality and without hypocrisy. And the fruit of righteousness is sown in peace of them that make peace. Well, I can tell you, friends, that we cannot make peace if we ain't speaking words of peace. Okay? We have to... If you just even look down into Proverbs, where it goes into even down to the tone of your speech, the words you choose and the tone of your speech can really change a circumstance, can really change how some things are going to end, how some things are even going to begin. You know, if you're about to present something a difficult, you know, topic that you want to talk to with your relationship with your husband or your wife or your friend, you know, how you come at them and the words that you choose will let you know if you're going left or if you're going right with this conversation. So without God's wisdom, though, we are not going to be able to tame our tongues. So we need to make sure that we are not offending anything in this word. Okay, we need to make sure that we're diving in this word, because I can guarantee that there is some way that we are speaking to people every day where it is not merciful. Okay, we may think so, but then we're going to go in here, we're going to find, oh, you need to be a little bit more gentle. You need to have a little bit more mercy in your tone of voice, you know, and there's nothing wrong, you know, with rebuking others and everything. But even in that, we need to make sure that, you know, that we're not letting pride get into our hearts, you know, for always, you know, trying to be harsh and rebuking. No, like, even Proverbs says, you know, soft speech is really good with persuasion. Now, rebuking, I feel like harsh rebuke is for when people are just really offending the word of God. I would say that, you know, there's a difference when, you know, you are just ignorant of something and now you know, but if you're not ignorant of it and you know better, yeah, you need a harder rebuke, because my friend, you know this, we don't went over this, what's going on. But if you know, I'll just end it right here. Our tongues. Our tongues are so important. They're so, we can be Christians and everything, but if we're not speaking the words of faith, how we gonna speak the words of the man that we killed, back a year or 2 or 3, 4, 5, 6 plus years ago in the flesh? We done crucified the flesh with Christ. Why is our flesh rising back up from the dead? No. We crucified him and we were made alive in the spirit. We have to speak in accordance with the spirit. We cannot be mixing spirit and flesh together. And y'all can look at that. You can always see that spirit and flesh don't go together. You can see how the angels above who are spirit, came down and made babies with flesh. What we got? Now we got demons. Now we got evil spirits. You see, that don't mix well. It doesn't ever make anything good. Spirit and flesh cannot mix. So we cannot try to live in the spirit and still try to live in the flesh. No, we can't try to live, righteously and still try to be pleasurable. No, not in the flesh. So, we have to make a decision and say, God, I don't even care if every single second you got to ask God, help me. God, help me. Come on, lean on your rock. Lean on your foundation. You can tame this tongue by his strength and by his power. Just invite him in, because your destiny, it depends on it. But that's what I wanted to share with you guys today. We gotta watch how we're talking. We're waiting on God to do something, but he looking down at you like, how you waiting on me to do something, but you telling me I ain't gonna do it? I mean, that's kind of like insulting to God. So we just really need to watch our mouths and guard our tongues, because they can be a blessing or a curse. So I love you guys, and I pray you guys really